Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Helm Dev meeting once again, July 7th, 2022. And we're with this lovely cast of characters. Here is a link to. Oh, it looks like Matt just posted it. Okay, great. Link to the meeting docs for those watching this later. Meeting agenda. So I'm going to add something to the end of this, but why don't we go ahead and get started with announcements. Farina?
Next Wednesday is when we're cutting 3.9.1. So if there's anything that needs to get into it, maintainers, please take some time to review the stuff in that milestone, see if anything can be merged in. But otherwise, 3.9.1 is planned to go out then. That's it.
Awesome. I just put a note that I'll be shouting you just because that was our plan, but if we can't, that's okay too. I'm just going to give it a shot.
Okay.
I've got it marked on my calendar. So, okay, cool. And yours is the next discussion item on real name.
Yes. So the CNCF clarified the policy around your name when using a DCO or CLA in the DCO we require. And I dropped a link into the doc to the discussion on the mailing list about it. But the gist of it is, I mean, in the FAQ, it says, do I have to use my real name when contributing via DCO or CLA? And the answer is yes, no pseudonyms or anonymous contributions. The CNCF follows the same tried and true policy in the Linux kernel and other LF projects. They have proven strong enough to defend the Linux kernel against legal attacks to date. And then there's a link reference there. And so one of the things that we have to do, and we've been laxed on, is make sure that pseudonyms are not being used when they use DCO sign off. And this is, if I understand it right, and somebody can correct me, it's really because you agree that you have given permission, you have legal right to contribute the code. And so you have to provide your real information so that it can be verified if anything ever comes back up in the future. Now, in the mailing list, you'll see that there are some folks who are challenging that and wanting to use pseudonyms. That process, if I understand the mailing list right, needs to go through the CNCF governing board for any changes. And so they are collecting information in order to take it to the governing board. But in the meantime, we have to be sure not to let pseudonyms and things like that contribute. It has to be real names. Scott, you got your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm only doing that because, I don't know, just for fun. So a GitHub username is a pseudonym.
Yes.
Or,
And
okay.
so yes, but when you do the sign off on it, right, it uses your name and email address in the DCO sign off message. Or if you sign a CLA, you're signing with your actual legal, you're signing a legal document when you do that. And so they say you have to have your real name. Now, what constitutes a real name? And the pushback on being able to use pseudonyms, that's being taken. A lot of this has to do, if I understand it right, with legal things, having a legally defensible situation where you prove you have the legal right to contribute it. And that's the reason for all of this. And so that's just, there's been a clarification because people asked, and I'm just passing that along with any process around if anybody wants to be part of the effort to take it to them. But this is just one of those things we got to follow.
I'd like to join, but anyway, I'll butcher.
Go ahead and read that thread. And I would suggest also understanding the background for why it is the way it is a really useful thing in it. But this is just one of those things.
So I'm sorry, whose responsibility is it to, I mean, I assume none of us are called upon to actually go check specifically if somebody says their names is James Jones, that person is legally James Jones, right? But I assume this is more after people whose like name is My Little Pony at example.com or something like that, right?
Yeah, if somebody says their name is My Little Pony. Yeah, I don't think we have to legally verify them in this. That's a good question. I don't think we have to legally verify them. But if it's an obvious pseudonym, we need to have their real name. And the
Right.
biggest area that I see this is folks out of China will often use pseudonyms rather than their name. Yeah.
It's very common in APAC where it's just not just China, it's across the board. So
Yeah.
I see where they're
That's-
coming from.
Yeah. And so that's just one of those things we'll need to keep an eye on in our stuff. Right.
We can also bring this to, I haven't looked at what's enforced in the GitHub implementation of DCO.
It doesn't check for real names at all. That's the manual. They'll make sure that there is something there and that the name and email address used in the commit is the same as the name and email address used in the DCO sign off, but it does not verify anything around, is it a real looking name, which I don't know how that automation would even work to do that. So that's one of those things that we should manually check. And I'm only bringing this up because the process was just clarified this week by the CNCF. And that's the only reason it's come up. And again, there's a link in there for the mailing list with more details on it if you want to follow up on the discussion.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, yeah, the maintainers, the next item, the maintainers track session.
Yes, so I started work on the maintainer track session stuff of what we're going to do. We quickly discussed it in chat the other day that we were going to do sort of an intro type session. And Scott, I know you had added your name to it. I think Andrew, you had volunteered as well. Did you want to be involved in that session?
I do, yes.
Okay. So do you have a link to that doc?
Yeah. Let me
Or
send it.
Andrew, do you have a link? Yeah.
Oh. Sorry.
So there's the doc where we've started to work. I haven't pasted in what I've been typing up yet. I'll get to that in a little bit. But we talked about it being an intro session. And so I kind of have a mental outline of something like that now. I was kind of looking at an intro of like, what is Helm? People understand package managers. And then getting into the ecosystem around it as well. So here's Helm. Here's how you can use it by itself. But if you're a chart author, here's some other stuff. If you're into other things such as GitOps, here's some other tools and how there's more to the Helm ecosystem than just Helm. And there's other places you can go to end up using Helm in charts. And just kind of an intro overview of that stuff.
Yeah, definitely have some things to add to. I'm sure others do. You know, I know some folks on this call who wrote a children's book on this, so probably have some good one-on-one ideas as well. You know, one thing that I've been lately when I've been putting together presentations that I don't know why I didn't do before is just come right out at the very beginning with some glossary terms without really making them sound glossary-ish. You know, just say, hey, you might hear of, you know, in the context of Helm, you might hear of things, words like charts, releases, versions. What are we talking about? You know, it might be good for us to intro that because I haven't heard it recently in Helm Talks.
That's probably a good idea. And yeah, and one of the things that really drew me to this idea was if you look at KubeCon EU, there were a whole lot of first-time attendees, and was it more than half the people were first-time attendees? So there's just lots of new people in this space coming out, and so how do we help them where they're at, get to know this stuff better? And KubeCon North America is going to be in Detroit, and that's kind of a new region for it, right? We've had them in Texas and Seattle, but I think this is the first Midwest one. And so I have a feeling we might draw in a different crowd, especially when you think about locals and regional folks who have not attended other ones. So I'm hopeful that way we'll continue the train of lots of new people coming. All right.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Then just making sure. It sounded like you were saying that's it for that topic, or was there more for?
That's it for that topic. I'll have whatever's in by the end of the day today. By the end of the business tomorrow, we should submit it because it's due on the 11th. So we should get it in before the weekend so we do not forget.
Yeah, I was gonna throw a couple of notes in there, and then I saw your message about that and thought, oh, I should probably wait till Matt puts what he's got in there. But maybe I should just.
And this is just the submission that will show up in the listing. This isn't our outline or what we're going to do. This is that teaser in the listing to try to get people excited to come. It's not, we can figure out the outline and the details of it later.
Yeah, the abstract and the yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Okay, cool. Andy, you're next.
Yeah, I put together a probably about a month ago, based upon some work that I had done previously with some other folks on the maintainer side about our submission of OCI media types to the IANA. So we did it as a pull request. I think Matt was the one that suggested getting it as a HIP so that we can properly track it and have conversations in the community. Definitely looking to see if we can start moving this forward so that we can hopefully get it submitted. I'll put the link into the chat in case anyone's not in the document.
Where was that issue? Because we had there was an issue thread that led up to that.
Yeah, let me go pull that one out too.
If you find it easily, that's cool. Otherwise, I'll try to find it.
Yep, I found it.
Yeah, because we can link that from this PR, and then that might be nice for folks who didn't see it before.
It's in the chat now too.
Is there anything you wanted to discuss about this? Well, while you're here, I mean, it says it all, but I don't know. Anything you want to highlight for anyone?
No, so just giving a kind of a recap of why this is important. IANA has a set of media types that is just known, and since Helm, the future of Helm really is going to be emphasizing the use of OCI as an artifact, as a distribution for Helm charts, making it so that we have an official standard and that can be tracked and understood is going to be good for compliance and policy reasons, because we can go ahead and say, you know, it has this composition, it has this registration, it has this purpose, and being able to have that be more in alignment with the other way that OCI artifacts are being generated and tracked. So just want to make sure that we're just crossing the I's, dotting the T's. You know what I mean?
Cool. I just added a fixes link to that in that view.
Perfect.
Okay, moving right along. Yeah, I'll do the official, or I'll look at that too, because I looked at it a lot in the before. But yeah, other eyeballs, and that would be nice too. Okay, it looks like I'm next. Right, so just a note about the issue triage that's happening tomorrow morning. Farina is leading that. I am joining that again. We've got Philip is joining that too. Anyone else is welcome to join it. I'm not trying to stack the deck, so you have to herd a lot of cats, Farina. Just you know.
No, that. Yeah, it's 10 to 11 Eastern time tomorrow, where I'll just walk through, going after some stuff and answer questions.
So my volunteer part of this is I'm going to join all of those coming up as much as possible, and try to socialize that to others too, so that we can get more, kind of let this snowball a bit, and then let those of us who join more of them take a turn at leading them. That was it for that. Okay, and then hey Karen, I know you're probably sitting on a pile of boxes still, but you wanna, a while ago we were talking about doing some like Helm meetups, maybe in Brooklyn. What do you think? I'd kind of like to.
I know that oh my gosh, what is his name? There's like the New York Kubernetes meetup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're like picking that back up soon. We can try and reach out to oh my God.
Yeah, Ariel.
I can't remember. Yeah, Ariel. Okay, we can try and reach out to Ariel. I don't have any swag right now for Helm, but I can definitely get some made. So yeah, we can do that. We can start in New York and just see how that goes.
That sounds great. Yeah, we've been in contact too. I was supposedly from like last whatever it was, like last year, whatever, supposed to help get that up in New York. But
Yeah.
then like, COVID and all of the other, we weren't sure like, are we gonna make micro meetups or was it gonna be like big ones again? So we actually have a space where someone offered to host in the One World Trade building with like a huge
right.
panoramic view, and like they're gonna like pay for, drinks and snacks and all of that stuff. So that's kind of cool if we choose to do that. We could do some, like have this Helm section in that.
Yeah. Let's chat with Ariel.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Any other topics? Looking like not right now. Oh, I just saw Andy posted another link. Oh, never mind. That is the link. Okay. My mistake. I thought it was a separate link. Okay, great. Then I guess just we're finished with this meeting, except for assignments for the next call. Who feels like doing moderator stuff? We can wait on that, and I can volunteer to take notes next time, because guess what? I can now type with two hands for the first time in a month. Today, as of today. It's my big news. Oh, and issue triage, I think. It's Matt, Farina, Scott, Philip, and anyone else that wants to. All right, go forth and continue being awesome. Oh, Matt, did you want to say something or?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, cool. I just thought I heard it. All right. It's nice to see you all.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.